Hello everyone, welcome to the part 2 of the video series where we are building a to-do application in Flutter with Appwrite. So in our previous video we learned how to install Flutter SDK, Android Studio and VS Code. We also set up our Appwrite in DigitalOcean. Before proceeding to this video, make sure Appwrite has been installed in your local machine or in the cloud. In this video, we are going to build a authentication UI and also send our first request to Appwrite. Visit the official site for Appwrite and click on documentation. From there, select Flutter and from there, scroll down. And here it has been mentioned that we need to add these lines of code in our Android manifest.xml file. Only copy the activity part and paste it after the activity part on line number 27. Indent it properly. We have already added Appwrite as SDK, so we don't need it anymore. And we have also added the client part. For now, let's make our first request. Navigate to the auth.dart folder that we have created in our previous video. Paste the function that we have copied. Since it is an asynchronous function, we need a future function. Let's create a future function. Such as future create user, which is going to be asynchronous. And now we have created a user function. Let us just print that the user has been created. Let us now create a new file, homepage.dart, which will be our homepage. It will be a stateless widget. Our main goal here is to create a text button so that we can send our first request to Appwrite. And if this request got successful, our first user will be created. Now let's clean up the dummy code that's available in main.dart and link it with our home page. Now see, we have got a create user button in our home page. Now let's add functionality to it. We are adding the create user function that we have created inside auth.dart, which will help us to create a new user and send our first request to Appwrite. Currently, we don't have any users inside Appwrite. Now we have got the result new user created. It means that we have created a new user inside Appwrite. See, this was the user that we have created. This was the email and this was the password and this was the name. So this is how we have sent a first request to Appwrite. Let us just change the name and change our email. Let's see if another account works. Let's now press create user again. We got on the console new user created. Let's refresh the page. See, a new user has been created. Congratulations, now we have successfully built a connection between our Appwrite server and our application. Let us now build a login and sign up UI. I am creating a new folder and there I am creating a new file, login.dart. Here I am creating the login page UI. Inside app bar, I am giving the title of login, and inside the body, I am creating a column where we are going to have two text form field and an elevated button. I am simply adding a input text decoration and adding the level of email. And again copying the same text and adding the level as password and adding the elevated button. Currently not adding any function to the elevated button, simply we have created the UI. Now let's uncomment the default home route and add root routes to the home page and /login to the login page. Our app is now working. By default, the root page is going to home page, but for now, let us change it to login page. When the user logins, he or she should see the login page first. Let's also add the sign up button inside a row. Let's make it an outline button. Let's make the main axis to center. And add a sized box between login and sign up. Now our UI is almost ready. Let's just add the obfuscate text to the password field. So that no one can see our password. And let's change the keyboard input to email address. currently we are not adding any functions. Just we are creating the Signup UI first. It will also be a stateless widget. First, we are creating a scaffold, and inside scaffold, we are giving an app bar of title Signup. And now, inside body, it will be similar to our login page. So simply we are copying the column part and pasting it in signup.dart at the body property. Now, we need to add the navigation part. Let's add navigator.push named. Since we are using routes, so we need to use push named instead of navigator.push. We have not yet created the sign up route. Let's go to our material.dart and create the sign up route. Link it with the sign up page that we have created. And that's all done. Now when we press on the sign up button, we are getting redirected to the sign up page, but it's showing us the leading of to navigate to the login page again. But in our case, we don't want to show the leading. So let us do some changes. In our signup.dart, let us add automatically apply leading to false. Now it's all working. Now let us add some text editing controllers so that we can control the text inputted by the user. We are creating an email controller first, and then we are also creating a password controller. And now let us link it with our text form field. Now our UI is almost ready. Only thing we need to add the function. In this case, we have already created the create user function. It will be used to register. Let us accept two more parameters such as email and password. We also need the name field. So let us also accept the name. Now let us replace the email with the email provided by the function. and replace it with password and name with name. Now we had created the register function. Now let us create the login function. And here we are creating a new feature widget, login, user, where we are going to accept an email, password, and it is going to be an asynchronous function. It will be same as the sign up. Just we need to add account dot the create email session function is going to work for this, because it will create a new session with the registered email ID and password. Let us wrap it with try catch function, because there might be errors during account creation. So let us try it and catch the error. Let us also add a print function so that we can know the user has been authenticated. Let us now create the logout function for the user. Here, it is also going to be asynchronous. We need to get into account.delete session, and inside session ID, we need to change it to current. Let us now add the home route and link it with our home page so that we can use it in our function later. In case of sign up, we also need one more field, that is name. So let us just copy the email path and change it to name. And now we have 3 text form field. Let's create text editing controller for 3 of them. Rename those controllers. Change the outline button to elevated button, because in sign up case it is not going to be outline button, and move it up above the sized box and change the elevated button to outline button, and we need to move it below the sized box. And now the UI is correct, as you can see. Also add the create user function inside try catch so that we can catch any error if any error happens. Let's now link the controllers that we have created with the text form fields. Inside the elevated button, use the create user function that we have created, and in place of name, supply the name controller, email controller, and the password controller. The controller will not give us the text, so we need to supply name controller.text and email controller.text and password controller.text to our create user future function. We already have 2 users in our database. Let us create a new user using the Signup UI. and using dummy name and dummy email. So it says new user created. It means that user will be saved in our database. So let's refresh it. See, a new user has been created and we have created it using the Signup UI. It's saying user already exists. So we cannot register with the same email and name. Let us now try with some different name and different email. We are getting an error that password length should be at least 8 characters. So let us enter more 5 characters. So it's saying new user created. It means that our sign up page is working successfully. Now, after the account creation is complete, let us navigate the user to the login page. Let us now create a new account. When the user has been signed up, he will get redirected to the login page. But here, it's also showing us the leading icon. So let's change it to navigator.pop context. We have created a login user future function. Let us used in the on-press event of the elevated button inside the login page. Inside of login user, let us provide email controller.text and password controller.text and login the user. We also now need to navigate the user. Let's use navigator.push named and push the user to the home page. Now let's log in with any of the user that we have created. Let us update the UI for the home page. Instead of the text button, let us create a text and write welcome user. Let's now also add an app bar and give the title of app bar as to-do app and save it. Now we can see a leading icon in our to-do app, but we don't want that leading icon. So let us remove it. Instead of navigator.push name, we are changing it to navigator.push replacement name, and it will remove the leading. We cannot go back to the login page after we had come to the home page. Let us now restart the app and log in with the previous user. and see if everything is working fine. Now, in our app, we don't want the user to log in every time to use our app. We can use the sessions and verify whether the user is logged in or not. If the user is logged in, then we can send it to the home page directly. So let us now create a new file, check user auth.dat, where we are going to provide the UI for checking whether the user is logged in or not. Let us now go back to our auth.dat file and write the logic that will check if the user is authenticated or not. Let us create a future function, check user auth, make it asynchronous, and inside account.getSession, we can get to know if the user is logged into the current session or not. Inside session ID, let us provide current, and let us put inside try catch block so that if any error occurs during this function, it will return us the error. Let us modify the function once again, and let us add a return statement so that it will be easier for us to identify whether the user is authenticated or not. In this case, in the first case, if there exists a session, we are going to return true. And if no session exists, then we are going to return false. Since this is an asynchronous function, we need to wait till the function gets completed. So let's add the await statement. And now let's build the check user authentication UI. It is going to be a stateful widget. Inside that, let us add a circular progress indicator. And in the init state, we need to check if the user is authenticated or not. We are calling the check user auth function that we have created. And then, using the then function, the value that we are returning, if the value is true, it means that the user is authenticated. And if we are getting the value as false, it means the user is not authenticated. So let us navigate the user accordingly. If the user is authenticated, the value will be true. So we are checking if value is true. We are navigating the user to the home route. And if the value is false, we are navigating the user to the login page. Now let us restart the app, and inside the main.dart, we should first render the check user page where we are checking and redirecting the user to the specified pages. So let's hot restart it. So now the circular progress indicator is quite big, but we are redirecting the user to the to-do app directly. So now let's just modify the check user auth UI. Let's add a scaffold and wrap the circular progress indicator inside the center widget. Now let us change the navigator.pushName method to push replacement name because we don't want the user to get back to the previous page again, and follow the step for login too. Now we can see a circular progress indicator, and then we are navigating the user to the home page. Now we are done with the login and sign up part. Let's add a logout button inside the actions of our app bar. So let's create an icon button. We are not giving any functionality, and use the icon as icons.logout. You can even use the outline button. And now let us add some functionality. Here we are adding the logout function that we have created inside auth.dart file. See, this was the function, and it is also an asynchronous function. So let's add the await keyword. Let's also now print it in our console that the user is now logged out. Let's now also push the logout page to the login page after the user pressed the logout button. And restart the app. Now, did you notice that when I'm pressing the login button, we are getting back to the home page, but we didn't pass any arguments, so this is not right. So we need to fix this error. Inside our login user, let's return true and false so that we can use that later to identify whether the user is logged in correctly or not. Let's now also add a then function and check if the value is true. We are going to navigate to the home page, and if the value is false, we are going to pop up a snack bar and we will type it as invalid username and password. And restart the app. And now if we press login, it's showing us the error invalid username and password. So it's working. But the sign up page is not yet working. So let us fix it. We are getting navigated to the login page directly. So let us update the UI and the function. Let us first change the return type of create user to string so that we can return a string from our function. And if we are able to create a new account, we should return success. And if we are not able to create an account, we should create an Appwrite exception and we should catch it. From there, we should return he.message and we need to convert it to string. So type dot to string, and that's all done. And now let's change it a little bit in our UI. After we are using the create user function, let's add the then function. And inside then, we are checking if the value is equal to success, then we are all good to go. We should pop up and send back to login page. Else, we should output the string that we are getting as exception inside of a snack bar. Inside the snack bar, let us output the value that we are getting from the createUser function. Now when we press sign up, it's saying email is not optional. Let us now add a name, an email, and press sign up. Now we are getting the error, password is not optional. Let us provide a 5-digit password. And now it's saying invalid password. Password must be at least 8 characters. So let us provide 8 characters. And now we add sign up. It means that we have created a new account. Let's log into that account. So now it's fully working. We have successfully built a login sign up UI for To-Do app. That's all for this video. We have successfully authenticated the user, and now we are going to build a to-do logic in our next part. Thanks for watching this video.